Hello everyone, welcome to another week of Movie Monday. One topic that I'm often asked about as an entrepreneur and as somebody who's in the corporate world is, what do you think about working from home? Um, in my 20 years of corporate experience, we never had an opportunity, or I never had an opportunity to come across anything like COVID 19, which actually initiated the working from home model, or which was the root cause for the model itself. For that matter, none of us knew that something of the sort is going to come and it'll, completely change the world that we are in. And working from home started from that. And it was a it was the circumstances that led to the working from home model. Not that when you go through a pandemic like this, you want to end up sitting next to people and die, or make your health really bad. So the obvious choice was working from home. But is that a sustainable model over the years? Is that something that you can do for the rest of your life? I think yes, possible. But what are the disadvantages of that? What are some of the challenges of working from home? I think one of the major challenges, I think, as part of the working from home model is coaching. When I talk about coaching, I'm reminded of the book called The Case of the Bonsai Manager by R. Gopalakrishnan, who was former Tata Sons director and was also the CEO of the merged Lipton Group Bond India Limited, probably around the mid 90s. In this book, there is a chapter titled Learning from Coaching, and it is called The Falcon and the Arab. In this particular chapter, Gopalakrishnan talks about how the Arabs train the bird, falcon, the falcon bird. He says that it's a very ferocious bird, and it's not easy to train. Falcons are trained in different parts of the Middle East, but compared to rest of the countries in the Middle East, Arabs train them in very less time. I think it's 3 weeks or something like that, while the rest of the Middle Eastern countries take about 6 to 7 weeks to do that. And the way the coaching happens is the falcon needs to go for a hunt, and it has a lot of objects tied to its body and everything. But beyond that, it has to finish the hunt and it has to come and sit in the falconer's perch. It has to come and sit in his fist, basically. The perch has to come and sit in the fist of the falconer. So this is a training where the falconer carries the falcon everywhere he goes. Gopal says that he feeds it, he takes it to every place where he goes, and even he has conversations with the bird. Quite surprised to hear that, but that is what it is. And he says management literature is all filled with this theme of how the relationship, gets built between the mentor and the mentee, which in this case is the falcon, which is the mentee, and the Arab, which is the mentor. And another part of this chapter is about different personalities in real time, as well as from mythology, in terms of the guru and the student, or the mentor and the protege, where Gopal gives examples of Krishna, Arjuna from mythology, Helen Keller and Anne Sullivan, Michael Klein and his grandfather Max, and also about J.R.D. Tata and John Peterson. So when J.R.D. Tata came to India in 1925, after his education, his father took him to Scotsman John Peterson's room, and he said, "John, this is my son Jahangir. I want you to look after him." That's all he said. And after that, John Peterson asked someone to put a desk in the same room where John was for J.R.D. Tata. And after that time, there was no privacy for John Peterson. Any letter that goes out, any communication that comes in has to go through J.R.D. Tata, and he was completely aware of all that was happening within the organization and things that concerned with the Tata Group and John Peterson and everybody. So I'm not going to elaborate a lot into it, but there is a very interesting piece where at one point of time the protege, which is J.R.D. Tata, wanted to start an airline. In fact, after he got his license, flying license, 4 weeks after that, there was a proposal to start an airline from Karachi to Bombay. And J.R.D. Tata wanted to do it, while the Tata Group chairman and people at that time were not sure if this is something wise to do. So the book says that it was John Peterson who convinced the Tata Group C-suite to let his protein start the airline, and it went on to become Air India later, and then it became a government airline, and now the Tatas have got it back. So it's a very interesting story which is in the book. You can read about it. But coaching, when you talk about it, I felt working from home world offers very little scope for coaching. Of course, you can say I learned it from my parents, which is very true. Like we all learn a lot from our parents in terms of hard work, their values, and everything. But when you travel, when you meet people, when you are in office, when you meet with seniors, the kind of varied experiences that you accumulate are not the same that you get from your parents sitting at home. So working from home is a sustainable model in terms of purely doing the work. But for someone to grow, for someone to become a leader, for someone to take in charge, they need varied experiences. They need to get a lot of experiences, and that experience part won't come from working from home. Is when you meet with seniors, the kind of varied experiences that you accumulate are not the same that you get from your parents sitting at home. So working from home is a sustainable model in terms of purely doing the work. But for someone to grow, for someone to become a leader, for someone to take in charge, they need varied experiences. They need to get a lot of experiences, and that experience part won't come from working from home. And that is where I feel the differences. It's not the job cannot be done, but it all depends on where you want to go, what you want to do, and things like that. If you have other aspirations beyond doing the same thing over and over again every day, then I think working from home is not the ideal model to do that. With that being said, one of my favorite movies on the topic of coaching is Good Will Hunting. The 1997 movie stars Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Robin Williams. There is a very beautiful, interesting, complicated, and a very nice relationship between Robin Williams, who comes as a therapist, psychologist with a troubled past, who acts as a therapist for Matt Damon. Initially, the relationship is very, what do you call, difficult and complex, because Matt Damon is a very cocky, arrogant person in the movie. Though he's a prodigy, he's a genius, and one of the math professors in the university identifies his talent. Though he's a janitor in the university, the math professor sees him solving some very complex problems, and in the process, he recommends that he brings him out of jail, and he puts him on therapist care with Robin Williams. So the relationship that gets built between Matt Damon and Robin Williams is beautiful. And at one point of time, Robin Williams teaches Matt Damon that despite him being a genius, despite being prodigial talent, you truly don't have the experiences to really talk about everything and anything under the sky. You might have read something, you might have a lot of theoretical knowledge, you would have gobbled book after book, a number of pages, thousands of pages. That doesn't bring you anywhere closer to what people have in terms of experience. There's a very interesting scene taken in a park in the movie where Robin Williams puts across his thoughts in a very nice fashion to Matt Damon and says, have you ever smelled how the 16th chapel is? You might have read a lot about Michelangelo and others. Have you ever smelled how, when you are in the 16th chapel, have you smelled how it is? Have you looked at how high it is? Have you really enjoyed it? Have you had that experience? No, you don't. So everything that you're saying is from the book and things like that. I think that one scene where Robin Williams talks from the park, talks in the park to Matt Damon, who's sitting next to him, is, in my opinion, sums up the entire trait of coaching, or the entire concept of coaching itself. Watch Good Will Hunting if you can. It's a brilliant movie, and there's a lot to learn, especially when it comes to coaching. Thank you once again for listening. Have a wonderful week ahead, and thanks for all your comments and likes and everything. I look forward to talking to you again next week. Thanks.